It's part 10 of A Life of Jim Hormone. It is my favorite creative player currently put through Madden 25 for the PS3, and we are in Season 2. It is the playoffs in Season 2. We made it through the regular season with about 1 billion injuries, but Jim makes it into the playoffs, and we are going to hopefully get 2 playoff games in on this episode, and it starts with Saints-Packers. We will get to play this one, and that's coming up in just a second.
The playoffs are
so
here.
The Packers come into this game as an 86 overall, hosting it. The Saints are an 81, and that is where we sit going in. There is Jim Hormone getting ready for some snowy football, wild card playoff action. A 3-and-out for the Green Bay Packers on the opening drive of this wild card playoff game. Now it's up to the Saints and Jim Hormone with carry number 1 on the day, trying to get to the outside. He gets there, cuts back in. Go, baby. Are you kidding me? Get there. Don't get caught by that guy. Oh, what a huge run by Jim right off the bat. 55-yarder. I hope he's not injured. Jim has been extremely injury-prone this season. It's why we get worried, but he didn't get hurt on that play. And now play 2, he's going to get another first down, and so far, so great for Jim Hormone. Jim Hormone sat out the last 2 plays of the last drive for the Saints due to that long run and another good run. He was tired, so he missed out on a Darren Sproles touchdown run. But he's back on the field after Aaron Rodgers went 3-and-out again. And Jim Hormone up the sidelines. Is anyone going to catch him, or is he just that good today in the playoffs? That is Jim Hormone's first touchdown of the game.
The Saints come
Packers scored to end off the first period and start the second period. Now the Saints back on the field up by a touchdown, trying to get to the outside again, and doing so is Jim Hormone picking up maybe 5 yards. He's got 152 on the ground in pretty much 1 quarter. One of those very big days for Jim Hormone, but really still have to win this game. It is playoff football after all. Couldn't quite make that cut back.
Third down here.
Third and short for Jim. Trying to continue this drive. Trying not to let the Packers get any momentum that they look to be building with Aaron Rodgers' arm.
Who makes the tackle.
They love it because
if you're new to this series, how it works is created Jim Hormone, put him through a Madden career, and when we pick a play, we pick one of the 3 Ask Coach plays, and you have to choose one of those. So screenplay was called this time, and a nice play by Jim Hormone to get upfield.
Of course, it makes you feel good about.
We're also only playing on pro mode, which is why we get these big runs and big plays. But that's the reason we play on pro mode, is because I want big plays. Aaron Rodgers took his team down and scored after a field goal by the Saints. Saints had to settle last time.
Drew Brees has it.
Hormone trying to break a big one with 20 seconds left in the half. And he's going to get a couple blocks there. Doesn't get the one on the outside that he needed. I'm going to call timeout. Stretch run to the right side. Can Jim break a big one with under 20 seconds to go in the game, or excuse me, in the half?
Pistol on this play.
Takes the carry. Bad job by me. I got tied up. I should have just stayed to the outside, and I tried to cut it up the inside. Start of the second half. The way the regular season works for this is I get to play, and I mentioned we play on pro mode. I get to play the 1 game, and then you simulate the next 2 games. So the computer has to take over with whatever stats he has available. Started off the career with an 80 overall. We've got a tie ball game in Lambeau. After that last run, the Saints went ridiculous. And I was mentioning that we play 1 and simulate 2, and those simulations have been rough for the 80 overall. Started off 80 overall, Jim Hormone. Lots of injuries, lots of terrible, like 30-yard games.
One side, well, as a linebacker,
so these big games right here where he has major yardage, they pad those stats a little bit. Much needed. We're going to switch this run from a counter to the left to a counter to the right. Try to use that tight end.
They go back to the ground,
upfield,
searching for space to the right.
Oh, and he couldn't quite break that ankle tackle for big yards.
Good job by some men up front.
202 yards in the day for Hormone. We chased after a 200-yard game for a season and a half before he finally got his first. Has one in the playoffs here. And the Saints need to score this drive.
To get in there and slug
big 32 right here.
Get some tough
Hormone going to try to break it up that left side, right in between the tackles. Just needs to pick up 2 yards, gets it, and a little bit more. They're definitely in field goal range, but Aaron Rodgers has been hot right now.
Practicing plays.
One of those times you really need a touchdown. This counter is set to go to the right. Again, we're going to switch it out to try to get behind those tight ends to the left.
First down and 10.
And we're going to pick up that block we needed, another block we needed. Try to cut it back up inside. Couldn't quite get it, the footwork in there. Jim staying in the game, and he has been really injury-prone throughout his career. So it has been nice this game to see him play at least 3 quarters we're going to get out of him. Can he get in the end zone right here? Stiff arm? Yes, he does. Another touchdown for Jim Hormone.
The Saints have been
a very rare 3-and-out for Aaron Rodgers.
24-17.
And now this drive could put a huge dagger in the Green Bay Packers, and potentially that block would have been huge. Could potentially end their playoff run. I really hate this play call, but it was the best of the 3 that I got to choose from. It's just right up the middle. Sproles is trying to fake him out. Kind of does.
On that last play. The Saints will come to the line. Still a very
the Saints
close
dodged
game
a bullet there.
Quarter.
The Saints, I don't know what I'm speaking about.
24-17.
But they've got the ball back after giving Aaron Rodgers the ball. And now Jim again with a big chance to deliver the dagger. Hormone still in the game. He is now going to be close to 300 yards on the ground. Another short gainer right there, and he's, I believe, at around 265 at this moment.
By the offensive coordinator, just
283 yards
and keeping the
for Jim Hormone. And they're 20 yards out from the end zone. Touchdown right here would put him over 300 yards, but he doesn't get it. And instead, he gets hurt.
The training staff as
oh,
got
no.
A player down on the field. And you're watching the NFL on
So there you go, bruised
Sports.
shoulder for Jim Hormone. Re-injury risk is medium. I'm going to take him out of the game. We're going to substitute him out and sim to the end. Not worth injuring him as we continue on in the playoffs. So the Saints end up winning the game, and they ended up getting a couple extra touchdowns during the last 2 minutes of it, which was not too shabby. 38-17
yeah,
an extra
excited about
touchdown.
it, Jim.
I have no idea. I wasn't keeping track of the score.
And you got
so the Saints move on. Jim wins the playoff game. Would he win player of the game? I would hope so, but no. Jabari Greer had a pick 6. That must have been the pick 6 at the very end of the game to ice it. So Jabari Greer gets player of the game, even though Jim almost gets 300 yards rushing. And the play of the game, will they have it or won't they? It could be that Jabari Greer interception, so we'll see if they show one. No, they don't. So it must have been the Jabari Greer pick 6. Sorry, Jim. Look at those numbers. 21 attempts, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. Receiving, he did have that one catch on the screen for 22 yards. No touchdowns, but a huge running game again for Jim Hormone. After a simulation, this could be the end of the run for Jim Hormone. Not a simulation, sorry. After we simulated the rest of the week. Saints-Seahawks in the divisional playoffs. There is a few rules going into the season. I can never play against the Seahawks is the biggest rule. They're my favorite team. I refuse to play against them because I refuse to try to beat them. I would try to fumble, and I would try to throw interceptions. It wouldn't be good. So I have to simulate every matchup against the Seahawks. Now, if we win this game, well, the other rule was, in the playoffs, at least one of the playoff games has to be simulated. And, of course, I don't want that to be the Super Bowl, so I'll never simulate that. So, one game has to be simulated. It will be this game. It just works out this way. I'm going to simulate it right now, and we will see what happens after a week of the divisional playoffs. The Saints in Seattle, in CenturyLink, an impossible place to win. You can see there it did prove to be an impossible task for Jim Hormone to head into Seattle, head into the CenturyLink Field atmosphere, and take down the 12s. 38-24, the Seahawks hammer the Saints. And Jim Hormone has a terrible, terrible game in Seattle. I'm telling you, the Sims do not go well for him. 10 attempts, 30 yards. Drew Brees actually threw the ball a ton in this game. But that is your last game of the season for Jim Hormone, as it's going to be another offseason without an appearance in the Super Bowl for the New Orleans Saints. We'll advance real quick and find out who ended up winning that Super Bowl, hopefully the Seahawks. Texans-Lions, that is your Super Bowl matchup. We look back, the Lions ended up crushing Seattle in Seattle, 45-27. The Lions will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. There's your final. Houston knocks off the Detroit Lions 30-24, and that ends Season 2 for Jim Hormone. That's going to wrap up this episode of the life and times of Jim Hormone, my favorite creative player, put through Madden 25. In fact, when we come back, the next episode, the next part will be the beginning of Season 3. I'm going to take care of all the off-season duties. I don't think anyone needs to be bored with that stuff this time around. So when we come back, it will put us right to Season 3 and Week 1 of Jim Hormone's career, hopefully still as a New Orleans Saint.